This might be one of the most interesting Regenesis challengers we've seen. Now make sure you guys smash the and crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more. We're going to be looking at the Zetsuryu Cup today. And I've been enjoying looking at these different top 8 patterns that have been coming out of the OCG because it just proves how much difference that we are seeing across their landscape with their meta. Now, most represented deck out of this event was going to be Yummy. That's okay, honestly. Seeing that Yummy is going to be the big challenger in the room is okay because this has been a pretty standard pattern that we've seen out here. It makes the most sense just to kind of seeing Yummy being this very, very strong, big meta deck. We also had one Malice deck. Now, Malice in its incarnation for, the post landscape where they lost a lot of different tools. It's been very interesting just to see the different success that this deck has actually found itself working with. So I am kind of hoping to see more success with things like Malice. Now we also had a branded deck. You're going to be seeing a lot of branded kind of coming in and out of these metas. It makes sense that branded, especially post, the new Fallen the new Fallen of White, it just makes the deck into such a much more consistent creature. We also had Elven Notes. We've been following Elven Notes' success pretty closely. It's been a pretty good story to see so far. We also had Zetsuryu, still kind of doing some dirty things, aren't you, Zetsuryu? That deck is very, very, very ignorant. We also had some Exosister Love, which I'm very shocked about that. And then we had Regenesis playing some of what I would consider would being some of the most interesting little tech choices that we have seen floating around in the space for decks like this. So I'm kind of digging that. Let's pass on over to deck list, shall we? So winning our event here was none other than good old Malice. Now Malice still, honestly, you've extended out the Baldrake package to going to 3. And that's about as spicy as the deck gets, right? Like, you're still playing the double March here. You did lose the Red Ransom, which did really kind of hurt this deck, honestly. But you do see, like, in the side deck, we've started to make concessions here to try to pivot away from some of these hits where you see, we have the triple dimensional fissure, we have the triple signet mining, we're trying different tools here to try to make this deck slightly more consistent. And honestly, I think you can do just that. It's just sometimes you're going to have some little issues with the deck trying to get started. And that's just, why you have the Bystials, right? Free extenders, get the bodies on the field. You don't have the extender anymore, Splash Mage. So yeah. Really interesting just to see, what this deck is working with for sure. Next up here, we have Branded. Now, when you have Expulsion in your deck and you are able to actually gimmick puppet lock your opponent very consistently, and for whatever reason, your meta just allows this to consistently happen, I'm a little bit intrigued by the results that they actually have for this. But, we're also only playing 2 Fallen and Virtuous in here, which I guess is fine. You're not really going to be going too crazy with needing to loop around 3 of those. I mean, if it does come up, it does come up. We also do get to see Alba Lenitus being a little combo piece in here, which is kind of refreshing, actually. I kind of like that. But outside of that, 1 Albaz, 2 Fallen of White are going to get most of the job done for you. And I mean, also Lunalight Monster in here too. Kind of spicy. All right, this is the Regenesis pile, if I can even call it this Regenesis pile. Now, you're probably looking at this and you're like, why is Great Shogun Shan in here? Why is Vanities in here? So we're kind of doing what a lot of the other little decks were doing. We're using 7 Tachyon as that little fun card to go get some different little bits and pieces, but also we have a consistent way to OTK the opponent going second through the Tachyon Dragon cards. I think that's probably the most important thing to look at when you're looking at the reason why this deck even has a possibility of getting off of the ground right now. And it's just strictly because you have going second check, you go first, you have Floodgate monsters to deploy against your opponent. I think that's fine, man. I don't see any real issues here with these decisions. Next up here, we have Elven Notes with some Fallen of Albaz stuff. So we've been tracking every different little nook and cranny that Elven Notes has tried to evolve with. And it's doing just fine, honestly. I think that this deck has been one of the funner little challengers to kind of actually come out here and actually try to get people interested in the way that this deck actually works. It's very interesting just to, see a Synchro Good Stuff pile actually do its thing, and also, the fact that the ceiling has actually been risen for what we were previously dealing with Synchro archetypes, because up until this point, things were horrendous with certain archetypes here. So I'm actually kind of all about this. Also, yes, we do get to play the Secret Village down here. The more and more I see these different variants actually running around with this, the more chaotic this actually does become. Next up here, we have Zetsuryu. Yes, finally, the big boy in the room. So, for as much as I talk about this deck being the big challenger in the room, it really is just kind of struggling to get off of the ground. And that's hilarious to actually see, man, that players are just like, well, you don't exactly get all of the added benefits to this chaotic little pile. And I mean, it's definitely true. You get to activate Zetsuryu Ritual 3 times in a turn because your boss monster allows you to basically bypass it. I mean, the demise is just going to be a dead, worthless card in your hand 99% of the time anyway. He's just there to facilitate the extra copies of Ritual Summoning, just to make sure you can do the thing. That's why, we're actually extending out, going all the way with the extra copies of Futsu and Friends here. Well, with Habaguri and stuff. Makes the most sense. Next up here, we have Yummy. This build is playing the adventure package. It makes sense, right? It's a free little extra body for you to be able to synchro with a little bit easier. It gives you a negate too, if you really need to, because this deck is kind of lacking after the loss of our dear old friend, well, you guys know what I'm talking about. Deck is lacking off of having its consistency cut back and losing Snatchy to 1. You also do see that they did have to build in the extra little components to actually play the second field spell. You're playing pure at this point in time. Also, the Nemesis Corridor to make the Colossus is frickin' stupid. But it does actually help, man. You gotta appreciate seeing the different results and the different power structuring here, because this sort of stuff actually helping out the consistency and making sure you can get those pieces lined up is very, very good. Next up here, we have Exosister. Oh boy, there's the triple sphere mode of doom that we are all pretty much enjoying seeing, because your job is to deploy the ball, break apart the opponent's field. The opponent stares at you in disbelief and goes, gosh darn it, I can't believe you had such a good card to break my board. Yes, that is basically how it ends up actually happening when you're looking at this. But your takeaway with this list is you have the spirit package. We're still doing Aratama and Sakitama. You still see, your Exosister support looks a little bit more shrunken down in terms of ratios, but that's fine, man. Your whole goal with this deck is just to make the good, consistent end board that you want, while also making sure that, you can trigger your Exosister effects during your opponent's turn to basically seal off and make sure that, they're not going to get the chance to play the game. Zetsuryu knows the pain of this deck all too well. All right, and then our last little component here is, another Yummy list. This build is playing Nightmare Corruptor Ebly. I guess I shouldn't be surprised to see that somebody decided to dust off Nightmare Corruptor Ebly, because it is a incredibly stupid card, man. Especially when you can Gigantic Sprite kind of deploy it, and then, your job is just to make sure, as long as you can get to the beat cop and do all the little fun stuff that you need to with it, it does work out. It's it's definitely something I really wouldn't want to be testing out consistently, but I guess. So what do you guys think about these cool lists? Please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.